Hello, guys. Hello, and welcome back to the Football Corner. Welcome back to another match reaction for another match. And I'll be so real with you guys before I bring on my guest who is joining me today to talk about this game. I think I need to go through. I think I need to just sit here and just have a little vent session just before we bring him on. Just about the absolute disgusting game that I saw yesterday. Just the gameplay was not the way we were supposed to be playing. Just there's worrying factors in this game showing us why do we keep on doing this? Why do we keep on dropping these stinking performance? Like, why do we come out and not play well enough? Why is the manager still making obvious mistakes? Obvious mistakes. We can't say that, oh, he's 1 year into the job. Oh, he's 4 years into the job. Why is he making these mistakes? We will definitely go through all of this today because it definitely needs to be gone through. We need to speak about the reason why we played so poorly yesterday and basically got handed a get out of jail free card because the way we played yesterday and the fact that we've got a draw is absolutely criminal. We robbed Chelsea completely. So we're definitely going to be speaking about that. But big up Shah in the building. With the way we played, I'm honestly shocked we got a draw, bro. 100%. I'm with you, bro. I'm absolutely shocked, flabbergasted. I don't even know how we got a draw in that game, but for some reason, somehow we did. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, without further ado, I'm going to invite my guest. You know him already. He's been on the channel a couple of times now. He's back again. My boy Sharaf, he's back with me. Big up, man. How you doing, my bro?
Big up, Sad. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, all
Clearly
good,
upset
man.
from the intro.
I'm fuming, man. I'm fuming. I know we're
I
gonna
hear
get
you.
into it. We're gonna speak about it in detail, but yeah, I can't lie, man. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off, and I think it warrants being pissed off because we have to start asking questions now. Is this team? Because I thought I'll tell you the reason why I thought that we were playing poorly before. I thought that the team wasn't complete. A lot of players were playing together that hadn't played together for a long time. So we were having injuries and stuff like that. So I thought that's affecting the performance. But
Mm.
when we come out with a team like that, that's strong enough to compete, although Jorginho was still in the team, and I feel like that played a massive part as to why we played so poorly, I think we still need to ask questions. Are these guys not able to play, not able to show out against Chelsea, who, let's face it, they've struggled this season? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what were your original thoughts over the game? Just go over let's just go over your original thoughts or overall thoughts. Sorry, on the game, bro.
Yeah, man. Look, obviously super disappointing, man, because the fact is, I'm not even saying this, I mean, to rile up any Chelsea fans or anything, but we played a team that's currently mid-table, right?
Mm,
Whose form this season overall has been mid-table or below that, I would say. Um, a team that we comfortably dominated last season at their ground. Yes, it was only 1-0, but if you watch the game, like that was dominance from start to finish. We
yeah.
haven't lost there in like the last 4 years. We won the last 3 years there. So I fully expected us to go there and win, right? Again, I wasn't one of these, and I told
Mm,
you this in your matching yesterday. I wasn't one of these who said 3-0, 4-0 final because no matter how bad Chelsea have been, they're a top six team that will show up for a big game like this. It is a London derby. Of course, they're gonna try to play, and they won't underestimate us.
mm,
So but I did think we'll win for sure, right? I thought this was definitely going to be like a 1-0 or 2-0. I predicted 2-0. I said the second goal would probably come in a bit late when they try to
mm.
come and get the equalizer. But look, very, very disappointed, man. And obviously, some people are saying, oh, you should be happy given that you played bad, but you still got a point. I don't look at it that way. If this was Liverpool at Anfield or City at the Etihad and we were 2-0 down and we played like shit and we came back and got 2-2 and got a point, yeah, I'd be celebrating that, right? Because these are
Mm,
two teams that are probably Liverpool are probably going to challenge for the title. I think they will, and City are obviously the favorites, right?
mm,
And we usually struggle in those grounds. So to go there and to come back despite playing like shit. 100%. That's an amazing performance. But to go
Mm,
against this team, right, that is, in my opinion, no way close to our level, and to
mm,
struggle for 75 or 80 minutes to struggle. And lucky for us, Robert Sanchez gave us an opening, right? Because yes, Raya made a mistake for our goal, so obviously we can play that way. But if Sanchez didn't give us that stupid blunder of a mistaken
mm,
chance, I don't think our players would have been riled up after that, like the next 10 minutes to try and go for the equalizer.
mm,
And you saw once Declan Rice scored that goal, we started playing a lot better, because we started believing. And I think you mentioned this yesterday, which is so true because I watched the highlights again today and I realized what you said was like spot on yesterday. You said that these players look like they gave up, right? 70, 75 minutes, it looks like their heads were down. They're like, yo, we're not going to win we're not going to
mm,
get something out of this game. And that
mm,
blunder that led to Declan Rice scoring that amazing goal, that's probably what gave them that spark and said, yo, one more goal, let's get it in. And once we got that equalizer, I didn't feel like we really tried to go for the winner. So I think even the players were like, yo, let's just get out of here with a draw because it's not our day. And it sucks, man. It
mm.
sucks. And look, you're right. Yes, we were missing Partey from the starting lineup. But for me, that's not a good enough reason to be playing the way we played and to get dominated by this team the way we did get dominated. And there's a lot of things that need to be improved, bro.
Mm. No, 100%, bro. And listen, at the end of the day, I completely, I believe that they gave up, and we've not just done this in this game. I've seen this over multiple games, where
Mhm.
I said this yesterday as well on the terrace as well. Why do we play well, or no, we play completely shit? Sorry, for like 75% of the game. And when it comes to the 80th minute, we all of a sudden the team wakes up. We're ready. We're playing like prime Barcelona. We play like Luton for majority of the game, and then the last 10 minutes we play like prime Barcelona. Why does this happen? Why are the players doing this? Why can't they keep that same consistency of that period in the 80th minute until the end of the game? Why can't they do that throughout the whole game?
Yeah.
Like teams like Man City, yes, they have games where they're off. Yes, they have games where they ain't playing too well. But at the end of the day, they still keep consistent performances. They are able to go out consistently and score goals and make sure they're winning games. They come up against Brighton, although they didn't look too good in the second half, didn't look at their best, they still come out and manage to win the games. For us, we wait until the team does something, the opposing team does something stupid for us to then react on it. That is not
Mhm.
sustainable. That's not a way you can play football. That's not a way you can win stuff. You can't win stuff by waiting for the team to do something sporadic, do something stupid, make a stupid mistake for you to then react on that. You can't do that. It's not sustainable. You can't win anything doing that type of game plan. And
Yeah.
listen, as well as the manager, listen, we're going to get onto that in a second, but his decisions were terrible. Um, I think the one spark out of that, actually there's two sparks. Obviously Declan Rice, his performance, I think he's the only one who can leave there with his head held high from the
He had an
starting
amazing
players.
game. Yeah.
From the starting players. Um Also for me, I like the fact that Saka was wearing the armband. I
Yeah.
think he was wearing the armband towards the latter end of the game, and I can't
When
lie,
Odegaard got subbed off.
listen, that gave me goosebumps, man. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
how
Future
how
settings. Yeah.
he's growing, and for him to become our future captain. Listen, if Saka wants to become the future captain, he can, bro, because he's pulled us up all the way. But
Mm.
I think maybe his performance yesterday was not at his best, just because I know. Listen, you said something as well, which was spot on yesterday, which was he wasn't attacking the right back or the left back. He wasn't attacking Cucurella
Mm.
that much. He wasn't trying to go past him. He would try pass back, or
Especially
he'd
in the first
try,
half. Yeah.
yeah, he'd try and cut inside. And for me, you need to try and attack him. We know Cucurella's. If a player is just constantly attacking him, trying to get in behind, we know that he can have moments where he's nervous. where
Yeah.
he's liable to make a mistake. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's just crazy that he was never able
I
to do that.
agree, bro. And for me, it's so. I remember I told you this at halftime. Like 10 minutes, if Saka's not upping his game, just get him off, right? And
Mm,
you can clearly tell that at halftime, Arteta probably told Martinelli and Saka like, take your man a bit more because second half they started trying to take on their fullbacks. Like Martinelli
mm,
tried to take on Gusto a couple of times. Gusto kept up with him, so fair play, and he had a good game. But second half, Saka had a lot more success against Kukurea. Like I saw the stats, he completed 3 out of 4
mm,
dribbles, all in the second half, and all his 3 dribbles came against Kukurea. I remember a
mm.
couple of them. One when he skinned him on the right, went in. There was another time when he cut in left and squared the ball. So
Yeah.
it's so frustrating. Like, why do you need to come to halftime and for us to be playing that shit for you to be like, you know what? Actually, I can take him, right?
Mm,
Because first half, I hear this thing when we have wingers who are so talented against fullbacks who are a bit shaky defensively, especially like Kukurea, and we're getting the ball and passing it back or easily getting it nicked off, right?
mm,
Um, so I think if he did that from the start of the game, despite the fact how poorly we've been playing, we probably could have had maybe like got something in the first half and that would have given us a better chance in the second half to win the game. But yeah, man, it's annoying and obviously the thing is you hit on that before Jorginho. Like, look, it's not us Arsenal fans being petty or something and saying, oh, one player changed the game for us. No, we're not saying that. We're saying even with Jorginho, we should have won the game. We should have
mm,
at least played a lot better. But with that being said, we can't deny the fact that when he plays, it changes our game completely. Like, have you
mm,
noticed? So I've checked the stats in the Premier League website. I don't know if it's updated or not, but I just checked it like in the evening. So I'm assuming it's probably updated up until yesterday. We're 15th in the league for big chances created. We were
mhm,
15th like a month ago, and we're still 15th now, which is like
mm,
11 or 12 or something like that. So,
mhm,
and you can see it on the pitch, right? Because when we're watching games, we don't see our team creating enough clear chances anymore. Like I don't see that like those penetrating passes that just opens up defenses, or see like our wingers get in behind and go one on one with
mm,
the keeper. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we don't have Partey, who usually gets the ball from the defenders and is always extremely progressive thinking. Every time Partey
mm,
gets the ball, he wants to turn and give it forward, turn, give it forward. And he's so good at beating the press. Even when you press him, he's got the ability to dribble and just clear up the chance. And as much as I hate Declan Rice, I think he's amazing and he can be an amazing 8 for us. And obviously, he's a solid 6 as he's shown in the
mm,
last 4 or 5 years. Even if he doesn't have that kind of quality like Partey,
mm,
he's good at Partey as a DM to win the ball and get. And he's also good on the ball, but no one progresses the ball as good as Partey for us in that midfield, and it's something we've really lacked. People say, "Oh, Jorginho is a good passer." I think Jorginho is a good safe passer. Like he's the kind of guy who can get the ball and just move it right, move it left,
mm,
rotate the ball. But he's not the kind of guy who will get the ball under pressure, turn his guy, and give a nice ball to Odegaard in a good open space. I think Zinchenko can do that if he plays in that position. Although the last 3, 4 games he's been giving up the ball in such silly manners, and I think he also
yeah.
has the ability to do that. To do that, so if Partey wasn't fit, which I think is ludicrous, it's stupid that Partey wasn't starting that game. But if your reaction was, if your thought as a manager was like, oh, I don't want to start Partey just in case of injury or whatever, and I have Sevilla coming up in 3 days, you know what? Why not shake things up a little bit? Play Tomiyasu left back, and maybe play Declan Rice and Zinchenko in the mid, right? And it's not a new position for
Mm,
Zinchenko. He plays there for Ukraine every single game, right? He
yeah.
actually is an eight, anyways. Like he prefers playing that position. I would much rather have that option than have Jorginho start for us. Honestly, I
Yeah.
think Jorginho should be like the emergency option. Like there's
Mm,
no Partey, no Declan Rice, we have no DMs. Fair enough. Emergency play Jorginho there.
yeah. No, I completely agree. I completely agree, bro. And you know what? For me, when I'm looking at Jorginho and I'm looking at the decision that was made to bring Jorginho in,
Mm,
why can't Thomas Partey play? Because at the end of the day, Thomas Partey, for me, with Thomas Partey and Declan Rice, when they come together in that midfield, they're basically like two eights. They're basically like
mm,
two box to box midfielders. And two box to box midfielders works because then you have Zinchenko coming in. He can also help with the defensive duties as well. He can help with
exactly.
clearing up the ball as well. So if you have Odegaard already doing his work in the middle. We will speak about him as well. But if you
Mm.
have Odegaard that does his work with Saka linking up, and then you have two progressive eights, or you got Thomas Partey there playing the six, but they're basically two box to box midfielders who could do both duties, as well as Zinchenko coming in. Why can't we play that player there? Thomas Partey for me changes that game completely for us
He
because
does.
automatically he comes in, we gain a sense of control in that midfield. We're able to keep the ball a bit more. We're able to we're able to get forward and get the ball forward, progress it forward, so the players can start to make chances, and we can actually get these big chances done. And I think
Mhm.
also Gabriel Jesus in that game didn't play very well.
Horrible.
So for me, I look at this as the manager getting the tactics completely wrong, the manager getting the lineup completely wrong, and I think he has a massive part to play on this loss because I truly believe, as well as the players playing very poorly, I feel like that the manager may have also lost us this game just because of his decisions
Yeah.
and the players that he's brought on. Because if you want to sit there and bring on these players and not be good enough, and they're not good enough to play consistent games. Let's face it, Jorginho, like you said, is the backup to the backup. So
Exactly.
we can't be bringing in that player. I know it's Chelsea, and I know he let's face it, Arteta completely disrespected Chelsea there, and he
He
completely went
did.
in there.
Yeah.
And I feel like the fact that he didn't bring him off, yeah, um, shows Arteta's stubborn side again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he brought him off, but he brought him off like too late, and he didn't even bring him off for party at the time. You were saying this at halftime that we should be taking off Jorginho at halftime and bringing on party, and I think if we did that, we would have a lot more control in the second half. And even if Mudryk scored that freakish goal, which he went to do, I still think we would have been able to not just come back but actually win the game. Not because Party is going to carry us by the shoulder, like from the scruff of the neck, and get us that win, but because he's going to give us that kind of control that will allow Odegaard and Saka and Martinelli and Jesus to do what they do best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%, 100%, bro. And I'll be real with you. The fact that I think it pisses me off more that when he took off Jorginho and then he took off a lot of the players and he brought on Nketiah and Smith Rowe.
Smith Rowe.
I could
Yeah.
I could I could fully understand the Smith Rowe point. I could understand why he brought him on. He's a very
Mm.
direct player. He goes forward.
Yeah.
He tries to attack the box.
Basically, he sacrificed a DM for an attacking mid, which makes sense because we
But
were losing by two.
when we're bringing on Nketiah, I don't see why. When we're struggling for a goal, I don't think Nketiah is really the guy to be getting us the
Mm.
goal. And I'm not trying to sit here and have an agenda against Nketiah because I truly don't. Like I want him to succeed. I
Same
do want
here.
him to be the best. I want me to be able to say, you know what, Nketiah is the best. I want him as my striker. But
Mm.
he just is not that guy. He just is not that guy. And I feel like for
Yes,
me,
and yeah.
I need to see better decisions from the manager, whether it be
Mm.
bringing in players, whether it be coming out and being able to not criticize his team, but be able to take the criticism and be able to understand, right, I made a mistake there. I should not be that stubborn next time. I should not
Yeah.
be that stubborn with my decisions because always is stubborn with his decisions. If
Mm.
he makes a decision, he sticks with it for 2 to 3 games. If he makes the wrong substitutions, he sticks with it again. Like it's just it's so poor from the manager. But listen, at the end of the day, he's with us. He's not going anywhere. So we just have to hope that he can learn from his mistakes because at the end of the day, this if he doesn't, it's going to cost him massively in the long run. It's going to cost him massively in the long run. Um, he would definitely not be able to he won't be able to capitalize and actually win stuff if he keeps on making these mistakes. Anybody could have told you yesterday that Thomas Partey needed to come on. Anybody could have told you that. Do you know what I mean? And for me, at the end of the day, I just look at it like this: if the players want to come out and they want to put up performances like that, something needs to be said. And there's a player which we need to go to, who there's a player who we need to speak about, David Raya. We spoke about it briefly yesterday, and listen, I completely agree with what you said, bro. You know what I mean? But obviously, for the people that weren't here yesterday, if you just want to say what you said yesterday, which was spot on, to be honest. But yeah, go on, bro. What was it that you said?
Yeah, what I said was Arteta came in the summer, right? And had this whole thing about competition, nobody's safe. Oh, there were many times in the past when I wanted to bring a keeper on in the 80th minute, or and I couldn't do it, and nobody's safe and stuff like that. And when he got Raya, people said,
Mm,
"Oh, does that mean Ramsdale's second?" He's like, "No, the competition, no one." Blah, blah. So by his logic, right, by his own logic and his own words, given
mm,
that Raya has made mistakes in the last three games, big mistakes, right? Like two of them cost us goals, right? And one of them could have cost us a goal against City when he did that thing with Alvarez, right? Plus, he gave another ball that could have cost us another goal against Cole Palmer, right?
mm,
So, based on his own logic of competition, now that Raya has had shaky moments these last three games, next game I want to see Ramsdale starting, right?
mhm,
Because you have two top keepers. One of them was amazing last season. No matter what people want to say, he was in team of the season as well, and deservedly so. By your logic, Arteta, you need to be dropping Raya after three bad games because it's not one, it's not two, it's three, right?
mhm,
Drop him and play Ramsdale next game, right? And
mm,
it doesn't just apply to Raya, by the way. It applies to anyone else who even Zinchenko. Even Zinchenko has not been that great last couple of games. Drop him and start Tomiyasu because if you're going to be saying all this shit about competition, by the way, the only thing I think Raya is an upgrade on Ramsdale on, right, which I've seen clearly, is coming out for crosses. Because a lot of
mm.
times I see like these corners and these crosses from the side, he comes out and collects them really well.
Mm.
Outside that, I haven't seen something of Raya where I'm like, oh, this guy's a lot better. They keep talking about,
Yeah.
oh, long balls, he's amazing. He's facing a lot of long ball passes,
I
right?
think it's minimal as well. The passing aspect of his game, it's
Mm.
minimal. It's not massively better than
Exactly,
Ramsdale.
exactly. I've
So
seen Ramsdale give amazing shot passes between like presses, and I've also seen him make a similar error to what Raya did against Cole Palmer. So it's not that big of a difference. If you're saying these are two top keepers and you're rating them at
mm,
a similar level, then you need to show that level of ruthlessness. Where like, hey, you've had three games in a row where you because look, this might be harsh to say on keepers, but it's a fact. A keeper could have an amazing game for 89 minutes. In 90th minute, makes a blunder, concedes a goal, that automatically becomes a bad match for a keeper.
mhm,
Because as a keeper, you can't afford a single blunder in a game because your blunders cost goals, right? Whereas a midfielder or a striker who misses chances or loses the ball, you might be able to recover from that.
mm,
So when a keeper has made in my opinion, three blunders in three consecutive games, two of which cost us a game. One was a loss to Lens, and the other was a draw, which feels like a loss to be honest, because given how bad we've played
mhm,
against Chelsea. Then, by that same logic, Ramsdale needs to be starting that Sevilla game,
mm,
right? And again, I'm not trying to like pick only on Raya. As I said, it applies to other players on the pitch, which
mm,
we'll come to. But it's thing is just insane, man.
mm. Yeah, and it is literally they. I think obviously Lons, he passed the ball, that led to a goal against Man City. He just had a bad first half, but even though that was close, I mean, even now I still think back to that Alvarez chance. If that was maybe, I don't know, 10 millimeters to the left, that's going in the back of the net. Alvarez would have scored.
Yeah.
I don't know how we would have reacted at that point in the Man City game. Because let's face it, if Man City scored the first goal, I don't think we can get back into the game. I don't think we can get back into
Mm-hmm.
that game. And then the third mistake, or the third line of mistakes was yesterday. Yesterday, where he just wasn't. up to he wasn't up to scratch yesterday. And there was misplaced passes, there was the one to Cole Palmer, there was even one where he passed it out and it was intercepted by Cole Palmer again. There was two for Cole Palmer. One
Yeah.
that he passed out that was intercepted outside the box, and one that was
Mm.
inside the box.
Inside the box. Yeah.
How many blunders are we gonna take from David Raya before you have to say, right, okay, forget about this. Yeah, let's are we gonna bring in Ramsdale now? Is it his time? Because he hasn't done anything wrong. You know what I mean? He's been waiting patiently. He's been doing his thing on the bench. So when is he going to be able to play? He's only played what? How many games has he played this season? He's played maybe two or three games this season. I can't sit here and accept a player who's come in this regards, David Raya, come into the team. He played well at the start, but then all of a sudden starts making mistakes. By the manager's own words, you need to be dropped. If you make mistakes, you need to be dropped. There's consequences for making mistakes. You're playing football. This is a competitive game, a very competitive game. And at the top level,
Agreed.
which we are playing in, we're playing at the top level. We're playing in the Champions League. We're playing in the Premier League. This is the top level. So
We're not chasing anyone. We're chasing Man City. Like
mm,
that's the thing. Like, and as I said, it doesn't just apply to Raya. Look, Martinelli for me didn't have a good game against Chelsea. Right
mm,
now, some people might say, "Oh, but he was amazing against City." But for me, because we have good competition there, the Spurs game was impressive. Not just the goal, like even everything he does. I think he does more than just the goal. Like he controls the ball well. He tries to take on his guy. By that same logic, even Martinelli should be dropped next game because yes, it
mm,
should. Martinelli should be spreading that message to his players that hey, one bad game, and yes, you could be dropped, right?
mm,
Because I have other players on the bench who are that good, like Trossard, right,
mm,
who could make that impact. So yeah, I cannot even afford one bad game from you. So you
mm,
have one bad game, you're off next game,
mm.
and that's just how it should be.
And you know, just quickly here, MDL, big up MDL, by the way, big up my broski, big up, man. Um, he said here, yeah, Akhi, Saad, just imagine if it was Ramsdale who made all these mistakes, they would be coming
That's
to him
true.
saying, why is he, this is why Pickford plays for England and not Ramsdale, poor guy.
One
This is the
hundred
thing.
percent.
If he made those mistakes, if Ramsdale dare made the mistakes
Raya
that
did.
Raya did in these past three games, they'd be going for his neck, saying, why is this guy in the
100%.
team? This, that. But all of a sudden, when Raya makes it, oh, he's new to the team. He's still trying to improve his communication with the back line. Now forget all that bullshit.
Yeah.
He's a Premier League goalkeeper. And the thing is, he's actually older than Ramsdale. He's 27. Ramsdale's
Mm,
23.
mm,
He's a kid. So let's sit here and actually call it a spade a spade. Raya should be doing much better than he has been doing in these last three games. I don't
yeah.
know what's wrong with him. Ever since he made that mistake in the Lens game, he's carried that on into every single game.
Yeah.
And yeah, listen, at the end of the day, it's just poor. It's just poor from the team overall.
And you know
Um,
what's annoying as well? What's annoying is that Ramsdale, as you mentioned, 23, apparently like a boyhood Arsenal fan and all that stuff. And I think he's been amazing for us last couple of seasons, right? Regardless of what other rival fans are saying. What's annoying is that you know he's not going to be willing to be on the bench like for like next season as well. So come this summer, if Raya keeps starting for us the entire season, we're gonna risk losing Ramsdale and I don't mind losing him if it's for a better keeper. Like I don't know if we had someone like Per Stegen or Allison and Ramsdale has to sit bench, by all means Ramsdale can leave. I don't give a shit. But I don't want us to lose Ramsdale in the summer for a keeper like Raya. Because I don't think Raya is that much of an upgrade. I don't actually think he's an upgrade either. I think in terms of shot stopping and in terms of the stop passes, I feel Ramsdale is better there, right?
hmm,
The one thing they praised Raya about, which is the long balls, and like, oh, he's much better than Ramsdale in long balls. I haven't seen that. I'm yet to see that. I'm yet to see these. Maybe our wingers are not making those runs. I don't know. But a
hmm.
lot of times he's given those long balls, and it just hasn't been as impressive as people make it seem. So Yeah, man. Like as I said, it's only cross collection that I feel he's showed a bit more there than Ramsdale. I'm not saying Ramsdale was poor at that, but I'm just saying like he's been quite confident when he comes out to collect crosses, which is obviously a very important thing for a keeper, but
Yeah.
he still needs to be dropped.
100%. And just quickly before we move on to the next topic of this
Yeah.
of discussion, we've
Mm.
got Robin Hood here. So he's come out. This wasn't the worst football in 2 years. Wafflers, you've been worst in multiple games this season alone. Chelsea went up levels and stayed. You stayed the same or regressed. Uh,
Name them. Name the game that we were worse than this.
that's exactly what I'd say. Please, Robin Hood, if
Yeah.
you can name me the games that we
Yeah.
were worse than how we played yesterday, because yesterday I can tell you exactly why this was the worst football I've seen in 2 years. This is the worst football I've seen in 2 years because every time we got the ball. Okay, so here you guys. He said the Fulham and United games. Right.
Nonsense.
Okay.
Nonsense.
Okay.
Just
So
because
let
we
me.
drew against Fulham doesn't mean it was worse. Yes, we played better. We should have won that game, but we created chances. We dominated after that Pereira mistake. We dominated that first half. We dominated the second half, and we were better until they obviously scored that equalizer. And against United, first of all, their goal was a mistake from Kai Havertz. Do you remember when he gave the ball away, right? And then obviously there was long ball to Rashford, and Rashford
Yeah.
scored a brilliant goal. Outside that was all us, right? It
Mhm.
was all us. We had good chances. Saka missed a sitter. Kai Havertz missed a sitter in the first half. We didn't have those chances against Chelsea.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%. And to be honest, at the end of the day, all we're saying is that in this game, the reason why it was the worst football I've seen personally is because we were just going down the middle. For a lot of the game, we're just going down the middle, doing the same thing over and over and over again. The
Mm.
exact same thing over and over again. Do you know what I mean? And for me, if I see my team continuously doing the same thing, that's literally the definition of insanity. Doing the
Yeah.
exact same thing over and over and over and again and expecting different results. Why are they going through the middle? If we've gone through the middle 15 times in a game and it hasn't worked, let's start trying to attack the wings. Let's start trying to get in behind.
The
This
worst
is
part is
this
when
is
we tried to attack on the wings a little time, we lost the ball there stupidly. It's
exactly,
annoying.
exactly. So when I tell you it's the worst game I've seen, the worst game I've seen from us overall as a team playing football. This is the worst game I've probably seen in 2 years for me. That's just my obviously Ashraf. I don't know if you agree to that, but I think that's the worst football I've seen in 2 years, including this season
100%.
so far
Bro,
and last
I'm
season.
I'm I- I'm gonna say this like confidently, like, except for the City game at the Etihad last season when we lost
Mm,
4-1. This was our worst game against the top six side since last
mm,
season. I'm
yeah.
not gonna count 2 seasons ago because we had some bad results. But it's been our worst game against the top six side, except for the Etihad game. Because we didn't. Not only did
Mm,
we go 2 goals down. Yes, the 2 goals were a bit like shaky here and there, a dodgy penalty, and then obviously the freakish goal by Mudrik. But we didn't create chances. We didn't like open them up. We didn't dominate possession in the first half.
mm,
And for me, it looks like for me, like when I look at that game, and as you mentioned, which is so true, it looked like the players gave up by the 70th, 75th minute, right? Like Sanchez had to give
mm,
us a bit of hope, right, to try and come back to that game. And luckily, Declan Rice was there to take it. And if big chance came to, like, say, someone like Jorginho, for example, Jorginho wouldn't have taken the shot first time like that and
mhm,
scored it that way. And that means that whole chance would have been gone. So for him to be like, oh, yeah, you've had worse games, we haven't had worse games. Yes, we had similar bad results in the sense that we drew at home against Fulham, we drew at home against Tottenham, but we still played a lot better in those games. Also, keep in mind, barring Thomas Partey, we started our entire starting lineup. Our
mm.
full 11 was there, except for Thomas Partey. We didn't have a full 11 against Fulham. We didn't have our full 11 against United. And despite that, I still think we played better in those games. And Tottenham as
Exactly,
well.
exactly. We unless I have my full 11 there, and they have played a crap game. You can't compare it to this game where we're playing
Yeah.
nearly every single starter that we have. But MDL, no, we definitely listen. We are gonna speak about that next because I need to get onto Erdegaard. I need to get onto Erdegaard because this guy. I'm gonna start off with Shah's comment here. He said that number 8 wasn't Erdegaard. I don't know who that was. I'm convinced it was a random guy wearing an Erdegaard face mask. Where was Erdegaard today? And then
Yeah.
he
It was
said
horrendous.
Oh, that's the next one. That's the next one. He said, Erdegaard plays better when Party is on the pitch. We saw
He
this in the
does.
Community Shield and last season as well. And MDL said, MDL said, I don't know if you guys spoke about Erdegaard. I came late, but even Havertz was better in the 10 minutes when he got on. He actually created the goal. So,
He helped set
at
it up.
the,
Yeah.
yeah, listen. At the end of the day, Erdegaard was very poor yesterday, very poor. And for me, I don't really believe the hype of he disappears in big games. I
Mm,
just feel like it's very important to put players around him. If you put Jorginho behind Erdegaard,
yeah.
that plays a massive factor because whenever we have Thomas Partey on the pitch, Thomas Partey is consistently giving them the ball
Exactly.
relentlessly. Just
And
bang, there you go, have
in
it,
good
have it.
places as well. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, if we're coming out and we're playing with Thomas Partey, if we play Thomas Partey in that game, I think that completely changes the game for us because of the
Yeah.
effect that he has on the game, because of how progressive he is, because of how well he passes the ball, and how the first thing he does when he gets the ball, let me look forward. Who's in front of me? Who can I pass to? So many times
Mm,
that Partey himself has come out and found either Erdegaard, Saka, and even Ben White on the overlap, making the run on the
yeah.
outside. So for me, Erdegaard, he needs to play with Party, but then that's also a worry because he's supposed to be the captain. So
Yeah.
I can also play devil's advocate here to what I've just said, and I can come out and say he's the captain. Shouldn't he be able to grab a game by the scruff of the neck when the rest of the team isn't playing well and do something
Exactly.
himself or create something? He's supposed to be the creative spark in our team.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts, Ashraf, on the the Odegaard performance yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was for as you mentioned earlier, this narrative that he doesn't play good in big games is just stupid and it's silly. We've had like if we show people stats that he scored against the top six sides, and if you include Newcastle now, because Newcastle are going to be a big team whether we like it or not, then if we show them the stats, they'd be like, oh, but then what does he do outside the goals and assists? And if we tell them actually he's played well in some games, they'll be like, okay, but where did he score or assist? So I'm not going to go into that, but yesterday, 100% one of his worst games. And if you're right, I think when Thomas Partey plays, um, Odegaard is able to sit in better positions because Thomas Partey gets the ball from the defenders and because he's so progressive, he'll beat that one man and he'll be able to pass it to Odegaard in dangerous positions. But when Partey isn't there, I don't think there's anyone who does that for Odegaard. So Odegaard comes and tries to get it in like difficult spots. And because he has like one or two men on him, he ends up sometimes losing it cheaply because he doesn't he's obviously either not aware or he's just trying a bit too hard. Look, you're right. We can't be like, oh, when Party plays, that's when Odegaard shows up. You cannot be that kind of guy, right? Because you cannot be a player we compare to KDB and we say he's one of the best playmakers in the league. And then the caveat is he needs someone else to be there with him for him to perform, right? I don't think that makes any sense. What I would have wanted to see from Odegaard yesterday is okay, he was getting, sometimes like pressed really hard when he's getting the ball in the final third. Fair enough. Go deep, right? Because Jorginho and Declan Rice are not doing it. Drop deep, get the ball from Saliba or Gabriel and start building the attack, right? Move it well. Even if you're not able to create those chances, at least make sure you're initiating our build up. And even if we got the ball in some dangerous spots yesterday, a couple of times, I ended up playing it first time to no one, right? There was a time that I remember Jesus was making a run and he tried to play it to him first time, but he didn't even get it correctly. It went to the other side, right? And he did it like once or twice yesterday, outside that one incident. So even when he got the ball in good places, his judgment was just very poor. And as the captain and the playmaker of our team,
Yeah.
you can't be doing these kind of mistakes, and especially in these kind of games, right? 100%, you can't be doing that these kind of mistakes in these kind of games. So Partey hopefully will start Sevilla and we'll be able
Yeah.
to unlock the Odegaard that we have seen last season. For me, it's not good enough, man. You can't be relying on having someone like him there to be able to show your game. You should be able to demonstrate how good you are able to dictate the game and control the game if Partey isn't there. And I don't think he's been able to adapt.
Yeah, 100%. Let me just sorry because I just Robin Hood is going on a rant for some weird reason.
Bro, I'm laughing at
Robin
his
Hood,
comments.
we're not saying that we lost or we drew yesterday because we're missing players. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. I was saying the opposite. I'm saying the games that you used, the games like the United game and the games like the Fulham game, I was missing players in that team. I didn't have a lot of my first teamers. I didn't have my players playing that were in my first team. Do you understand? The Fulham game, I was playing Thomas Partey at right back. So please, I'm not trying to take anything from Chelsea. Chelsea yesterday, in fact, Chelsea were spectacular yesterday. They played out of their skin. They played like a big team. Finally, in the league, they actually came out and put a performance up against a decent team. So I applaud them. Fair enough. Chelsea were good. I'm never going to say that they weren't. But I'm just trying to say that when it comes to this game, this was the worst I've seen Arsenal play this season. Yes, Robin Hood, they did play a decent level. So I'm not gonna come out here and say that. That's not what I'm saying. You're completely getting what we're trying to say here wrong. We're not trying to discredit Chelsea in any way for their performance yesterday because they played very
He's
well.
he's he's waffling because we never said we played well against Fulham. We said we played better against Fulham and against United than what we did against Chelsea. Against United and Fulham and
Mm.
Spurs, we didn't play well. Yes, you're right. But we played better against those teams than we played against Chelsea, especially since we created chances. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna dunk on this on these Chelsea fans because I'm trying to do this respectful thing, but the hell with that. First of all, this was Chelsea's best ever performance against the top six side since last
Yep.
season. And it's at home, and the best they could do is get a draw, right? The same against Liverpool, by the way, started the season. It was one of their best performances, and the best they could do is get a draw against Liverpool at home at the Stamford Bridge. This was our worst performance against the top six team, and the worst that happened was we got a draw at your ground. Second of all, this non we never blamed like our starting lineup or the fact that we didn't have Thomas Partey on the defeat, right? Like we said, even with Jorginho, we should have dominated that game and won. But and I've heard this yesterday in spaces as well. Chelsea fans were like, "You're missing like 4, 5 starters." I was like, "Name your starters," and they were like, "Badia Fofana," and I was like, "Whoa, hold up." We're missing Badia and Fofana. So are you playing three at the back? Because from what I know, Colwell is a starter. They've been praising Colwell, the best young centre back, blah blah blah. So if Colwell is available and Badia is available and Fofana is available, who's playing where? And you can't tell me Colwell is playing left back because Chelsea fans have been criticizing Pochettino for playing Colwell left back all season.
Mm.
So they've not been missing so many starters. They've only missed, I would say, 2 starters. Nkunku, fair enough, and probably Badia or Fofana, one of them.
I think Badia
Whoever
Sheila is better.
yeah, fair enough. So Badia. So if that's Badia and Nkunku, you've only
Mm.
missed 2 starters. So don't go on about like, we missed 4, 5 starters. And all these other injuries they've mentioned. Sorry, you have 50,000 players in your squad. Obviously, you're going to have a long list of injuries, right? Don't make it seem like you have 20 players, and out of your 20 players, 11 are available and 9 are injured. You have like 30 something players, and at least 30 something players, 8 or 9 are injured. Most of
Mm.
these guys they're mentioning were on the bench yesterday,
And
like
and
Reece
and please,
James. And
exactly. Please do not use the Reece James injury thing. You're doing the same thing as City when they claimed to
exactly,
me that John Stones was injured and out for them. He was on the bench. He came on in the game.
exactly, 100%.
It, it, it,
But
it just
his, by the way, Reece James has an 83% loss record against us. So I don't think Reece James is the kind of guy you want to big up here. I've gone on record to say that when he's fully fit, I think he's one of the best right backs in the world. But you can't be using the argument of Reece James because by that logic, Partey was on the bench for us, right? Timber, who would be a starting left back. Timber, who would be a starting left back, he got an ACL injury. We didn't come crying about that and said, damn it, it's over and all that stuff. It is what it is. You just have to deal with it, right? That's why you have a decent squad so that you can take care of injuries like that.
exactly. And listen, once your players come back, you're going to be playing. It looks like you will be playing well. As soon as Buddy Shile comes back, I think he gets straight into the team. Him and Desasi, they're going to be the centre back partnership. Um, and Nkunku comes in and adds the goals. Simple as. But I think moving, going back to this game,
Mm.
I just wanted to point out a comment here which I saw from MDL, uh, which was let me just get it up. Where was it? Where was it? Yeah, there it is. He said, "Don't you guys think Tom Yasu is itching to start? He's a
Yeah,
defensive machine." Listen, I said this yesterday. I said you bring on Tom Yasu, he gives you defensively. He is perfect for that role, and he's now trying to improve himself going forward,
mm,
being able to attack, being able to get into the midfield. So for me, pardon me, for me, at the end of the day, if we have to play a left back, I would now rather go with Tomiyasu than Zinchenko,
100%.
just based on the last few games that he was out there doing some shambolic stuff on the pitch, just
Mm,
defensively, just letting go. I think when he first came into the team, Zinchenko was okay. He wasn't making defensive mistakes. I was like, wow, what's happened to Zinchenko's defensive, him being a defensive liability on that left side? And
mm,
then he wasn't. He was actually staying back at times and
yeah.
able to hold up the wingers, but all of a sudden this guy just reverts back to what he was doing before. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
So for me, it really is. It really is. It does look like he's itching to start. He just wants to get in. The only thing with Tomiyasu though is his injury record. And, that's the only thing for me is that he's made of
horrendous.
glass. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Um, you see, I agree with you there, and obviously the injury thing is annoying. But look, while we have him, you know how they say like, oh, this guy is injury prone, so you need to take care of him. I don't think it works. I think when there are injury prone players, they're just injury prone players. So whenever you have them, just play them as much as you can, right? And we have to be okay with a scenario where he is gonna probably get injured again. Now, I 100% agree with you. I think Tomiyasu should be starting ahead of Zinchenko because it goes back to what I said about Dryer. If we are doing the competition thing, Zinchenko has been poor this season. And you know what? It's not even about the defensive side of his game because defensively, we all know he's a bit um up there. He's had like shaky moments. Even last season, he had some shaky moments defensively.
Mhm.
But the reason why we still start him over and over again is because we know, despite the fact that he's defensively not that solid, what he gives us on the ball is incredible, and it makes up for it, right? Because we're able to
Mhm.
dominate possession. He gets into the middle, he inverts, and we dominate the midfield. He's able to play those good through balls. He rarely loses the ball, at least at his best. This season, even his on the ball game, in my opinion, has been horrendous. Right? He's had 3, 4 games in a row where he has the ball and he loses it in a stupid manner, tries to give some weird pass and it gets super intercepted, like easily intercepted. I get that issue against Chelsea. He gets the ball in our box, tries to get out of trouble, tries to pass his way out of trouble, and passes the ball. I don't know if it was Cole Palmer or Sterling who got the ball. We receive in our box and it gets accepted in our box, right?
Mhm.
And he's done that like 3, 4 games in a row. So even his on the ball game hasn't been that great. He's had some good moments here and there, like the game against United where he gave that pass to Nketiah or just for the goal of Odegaard, or yesterday when he gave that through ball, I think to Declan Rice who went running through. But most of the times he makes a lot of mistakes on the ball. And we saw this yesterday when Tomiyasu came in. He's been inverting really well. He gets into the middle, he asks for the ball, he moves it well, he doesn't lose it easily. And what we know with Tomiyasu for sure is you're getting proper defensive solidity. Proper defensive solidity. That too, he came off the bench against when he played against us at the Emirates. He had to
Mhm.
go at Zinchenko, right? Arteta benches Zinchenko, gets Tomiyasu, and Doku had to switch sides and go at Ben White because they probably saw that they probably thought Ben White is the weaker link defensively. That's how solid Tomiyasu is defensively. One on ones. Do you remember last season when he came up against Salah
Yeah,
and had an amazing game? Like he
yeah,
has so many good performances defensively as a fullback. I think that left back thing works for him because he can invert, he can run back, he has that stamina to go up and down. And funny enough, against City, when he went forward, he helped set up the goal as well that we scored. So just again, going back, I know this sounds like a broken record, but I'm just repeating what Arteta is saying. Based on competition, Zinchenko also should be dropped and Tomiyasu should be starting that game. And we shouldn't
yeah.
be worried about injury. If he gets injured, tough luck. We start Zinchenko or we play Kivior or whoever. But while we have him, and the same logic with Party as well. While we have them, we need to make sure that we're starting these guys.
Yeah, listen, I completely agree. And MDL also said, obviously, he said, I don't know what the guy's name on the right, but his Zinni take is spot on. Um, Listen, at the end of the day, we have to look at it like this. Zinchenko is great going forward, but just when it comes to defending, he's always going to be a defensive liability. Always. Yeah, Sharp. Listen, I had to, bro. I had like he's like, okay, I'm here to have a discussion and I'm here to have an argument, but
Mm.
when you're just it's just stinky takes, bro. Just stinky takes. Just stinky takes. So I was done with it, bro. Just get him out of here. But yeah, listen, at the end of the day, we have to look at this game. It's an important game, because you can't sit here, come up against Chelsea and undermine them to that level. Because
Mm.
yes, they've been poor in the league, but at the end of the day, let's face it, they are still a big team.
Mm.
They are, no matter what you want to say, they're still a big. They've got a big squad. They have got players who, although they're kids, we've seen what can happen when you have kids who can play together and can play very well. Yesterday they played very well. I
Yep.
think Enzo. I think they definitely won the midfield battle. I think the way Enzo, Gallagher, Caicedo, they were all playing off of each other. At one point during the game, they were popping the ball around. Caicedo was standing there with the ball, like, okay, then come get it. I'll just stand here and wait for you. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It was definitely embarrassing. It was embarrassing from our point of view, and I think obviously when it comes to us playing against Chelsea, we can't be sitting here. Oh my god, here we go, here we go. So he's made another account. You know what? Robin Hood's actually got so much time on his hands, bro. I respect to these people who have got so much time on his hands. Anyway, listen. At the end of the day, we have to focus on what we're going to do in the transfer window, because this transfer window is going to be one of our most important, because
Yeah.
we have to look at the competitions that we're going to be in. Hopefully we're still in around the Champions League by then. I think it will come to the just after um the group stage
Mm.
in February. So for us going into this, for us going into this, we need to look at what's happening with the team. We need to look at what's happening with the striker position, because
Yeah.
frankly, if you're taking Gabriel Jesus off, which I can allow him to be someone who doesn't score goals, I can fully allow it, because
Mm.
Jesus still tries to provide something. He still
Yeah.
brings people. He still tries to bring on people or bring people into the game.
He does. Yeah.
In Ketia, unfortunately, cannot. He can't. He can't do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have to look at it like this. Why can't we get in a striker? Frankly, we should have done it in the summer, but I understand with financial fair play, you just can't go spending
It
money
wasn't a
relentlessly.
priority. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was other priorities, i.e., bringing a midfielder in. We bought in Declan Rice for 105 million, and obviously bought in Kai Havertz, which
But that's the thing.
looks
That's the thing, Saad. You hit it on the nail. We didn't need to get Kai Havertz. That same 65 million, you could have used it to get a striker if needed. Or not even a striker, even like a center mid, because we don't have, we don't have a pure center mid at all in the
mm,
team.
yeah,
Like Vieira is actually an attacking mid. Smith Rowe is an attacking mid. Declan Rice is actually a six. I know he can play as an eight, but he's not pure center mid. Tortino is a DM. Party is a DM.
yeah.
So if I have a signing, like you're gonna look back at that and say, we're either going to be like, okay, you know what, he's shown up in some games and done it, which I really doubt it, or you're going to be like, 65 million could have been better spent.
I hope. Listen, 65 million. I reckon if Tony wasn't banned, if he
Mm.
didn't get that ban, I think we would have gotten him instead of Kai Havertz. And I think if we got him instead of Kai Havertz and brought him in, oh my god, here we go. Here we go. Broad Sports. There's a United fan asking. A United fan is asking me where was Saliba. A United fan is asking me where was Saliba. I listen.
The funny thing is, outside the penalty, which I still think was super harsh, what did Saliba do wrong that game?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
remember. Yeah,
I don't
so
think
like
so.
it's you're cooking the wrong dish, my friend.
The wrong guy, exactly. Barella for 65 million.
Yeah,
Great shout. I would love to get Nicola Barella at my club, man. If we could get him, it's just whether they'd let him go for 65 million, bro.
yeah.
It's just whether they'd let him go for 65
Mm,
million. But apparently Inter looking more to the 80, 90 million variation. So, bro, I don't think we'll be able to spend that much on him. But getting on to the penalties, because there's two penalty shouts. Obviously, there was the one that was given against Saliba, which I'm gonna give my point of view on both of them.
yeah.
So when it comes to the penalty that was given against Saliba, it's by the rule book, it is a penalty. By the rules that are stated in the rule book, it is a penalty, yeah. But I think that the rules need to be changed because
Mm,
if a player is jumping up or jumping towards the ball, eyes closed, his hand, nobody jumps like that. Nobody jumps like
mm,
that. You know what I mean? They're gonna
yeah.
jump with their hands. Their hands go out when they jump towards the ball because you need to help you lift in it. For me, at the end of the day, you look at this. You look at the way he hit the ball and he hit it towards his arm. Does close
Mm.
proximity come into it? Does close proximity come into it? Is these rules need to be put out so they can take it, because when they've made these rules, I really don't think they've taken into account. And this could have happened for me, even if it happened on the other end. Let's say, for instance, what's his name? Saka headed the ball and it hit
Yeah.
off Thiago Silva's hand. I would still be questioning it. Why would it be given as a penalty if they're jumping and his hand is like that? Because that's your that's the normal stature that you're at when you're jumping up like that. Yeah, you're jumping up like that, and your hand goes up automatically. Nobody would jump like that. That's not natural for a jump. Do you know what I mean? Um, this guy Hassan just coming out of nowhere. Ashraf is a full-time YouTuber now. Hey, listen, man, we're here, man. We're doing it, man. We're doing it. We're doing it. Hey, but listen,
Big up, Sam.
um, this is stuff that needs to be questioned, bro. It needs to be questioned because why are these rules out here? They're not taking into account what actually happens. What actually happens in football pitches. They don't. These guys that have made these rules do not know football.
Mm,
From the officiating, from the referees, the people who are making the rules, and people who are making the rules in the game are not familiar with football. They're not familiar with football. They haven't got a clue. So for me, that's the first one. I personally think it was a penalty. It could have been given either way. They could have said it was close proximity, or they could have given it. Either way, I'm not
So
going to complain too much about that
on
one.
that side, before you go into the
Yeah,
second one, because
yeah,
I'm reading the FA laws right now, which is obviously taken from FIFA. This is the FA.com, right? And
yeah.
it describes what a handball is and when the offense is given. So a handball is deemed a handball in two cases. One, if a player deliberately touches the ball with their hand or arm, for example, moving the hand or arm towards the ball, which wasn't the case in this scenario. Or second, touches the ball with their hand slash arm when it has made their body unnaturally bigger. A player is considered to have made their body unnaturally bigger when the position of their hand or arm is not a consequence of or justifiable by the player's body movement for that specific situation. I
Hmm.
think we can safely say that whenever a footballer jumps, their hand is always going to go like that to get that leap. If you
Mhm,
watch the penalty, right, and I've just watched a video of it as well, 'cause I wanted to make sure I'm not just waffling, right? Mudrik, when he jumps, his arm also goes like that, right?
mhm,
So even when he jumps, even he puts his arm like that to get the header, right? Now, as I said yesterday, if the ball was crossed in and Saliba jumped to head it and missed it and it hit his arm, yes, that's 100% a penalty because there was no one with him. He went to head the ball, he missed it completely, and it hit his hand. But here, he leaped this way, which is the way every footballer in the world jumps, right? And from close proximity, Mudrik heads the ball to his hand. And if you want more evidence of it to show you that it's not that clear cut, when the referee went to VAR and watched it, he didn't see it the first time or the second time and came off. He had to
mhm,
watch it like 10 times while speaking to them before deciding, okay, you know what, I'm going to give it.
mhm.
And that's my logic. Saliba's jump wasn't unnatural. Modric's leap as well wasn't unnatural. Which is
Yeah,
why, for me, if you go by these two laws of the FA about a handball, that shouldn't have been a pen, right? Because his motion is a natural motion when you're jumping.
yeah. No, I completely agree. I completely agree, man. And you know the second call that I wanna actually criticize. The second call was the one regarding Gabriel Jesus where he got a concussion. Because
Yeah,
when you
Sanchez.
when you when you actually look back at it, he
Mm,
does he does hit him quite hard.
mm,
Now I don't think that was a penalty, and I'll tell you the reason why. I'll tell you my
mm,
reasoning why. Obviously, you might think different, but the reason why I don't think it will be given as a penalty is because in the box, goalkeepers tend to get the most right to do whatever they need to do. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
They can get more physical against players, and it won't come back to bite them, and it won't actually get them booked. So for me, looking back at it now, it
mm,
does look a bit harsh. It does look hard,
mm.
but still, looking at the keeper, he's trying to get the ball. I don't think he was looking at what's the name, Gabriel Jesus when he done it.
Yeah,
So we can't say that he did it deliberately.
yeah.
So for me, I just personally don't think it was a penalty or penalty worthy for us to get a penalty. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, bro, because I've seen different takes on from people saying it was a penalty, some saying it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Personally, I don't think that's a penalty, and I'll tell you why. Obviously, it's unfortunate that Jesus obviously got the that landing from Sanchez, right? I see a comment here that says he punched Tomiyasu. I just watched it. He didn't touch Tomiyasu, so there was. And this is very important, right? Because Tomiyasu is the one that headed the ball. Now, if Tomiyasu headed the ball and after that he was punched by Sanchez, or the same landing that happened on Jesus happened on Tomiyasu was going for the ball, I would say yes, 100% penalty. Because as a keeper, if you're coming out to try and win that ball against, let's say, the opponent, in which case it's Tomiyasu now, and you miss the ball and you end up landing on the player instead, yes, I think that would sort of been given as a penalty. I think Jesus was nowhere close to the ball. He wasn't going to win it, right? So it was an accident. It is unfortunate, obviously, and luckily, like it didn't turn out to be something serious for Jesus. But these kind of accidents do happen. I don't think it should be given as a penalty. As I said, if Jesus jumped to win the header, right, and he was competing for the header, and Sanchez missed him and landed on Jesus instead, then I would say yeah, fair enough. But the guy who went to win the ball was Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu didn't get touched. He headed the ball out. I don't think Tomiyasu was also impeded by Sanchez. So I don't see that as a penalty. You could maybe say, okay, Thiago Silva was dragging Tomiyasu's shirt because I'm looking at it right now. He was dragging Tomiyasu's jersey, but even that for me should not be a penalty because while obviously like a player could say, oh, but I'm being impeded. For me, even though his jersey was getting tucked, it didn't look like he got impeded from the jump. He still managed to get the jump. He still managed to get the header on. Yeah, for me, in my opinion, I don't think that should be a penalty sought or a yellow card or a red card or any of that
Yeah,
nonsense.
no, no, I completely agree, bro. Completely agree. And Alex Ferguson, sorry, we're not saying that the that wasn't a handball for me. Well, I wasn't saying that it wasn't a handball. I'm just saying that the rules need to be changed because the natural thing that happens when a player jumps up is their
Yeah,
hands go out a little bit. Their
yeah.
hands do go away from their body a little bit. Unless Saliba literally went like this with his firstly he had his eyes open, looked at Mudrik headering the ball and went like that to
Then yeah,
put
for
his
sure,
arm towards it. Of course, 100%
because
penalty.
that's
He
intentional. Yeah,
intentional. His intention was to hit the ball with his hand. But
yeah,
when his eyes are closed, he's gone in for the header like that, and his arms have like even when I push myself forward, my hands go up. So that's
yeah.
always gonna happen just naturally. So the
And
rules
I
need
just
to be changed somehow.
And as I said, if the ball came directly to his arm, I would say yes, because that's carelessness.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
wasn't careless. He went to win the header, and Mudrik headed it to his hand. Look,
yeah.
what I would say about the law, because again, for me, even if you go by the law, and if I read this, from my understanding, it looks like it's not a pen. But if we have to talk about the law, I think maybe the law should be clearer, right? Because it says when your body's in an unnatural position, or you're making it unnaturally bigger, and it then says um, a player is considered to have made their body unnaturally bigger when the position of their hand or arm is not a consequence of or justifiable by the player's body movement. So I want to clarify what that means, right? Because the way
Mhm.
I understand it is no footballer is going to jump like a fish, right? With your hands up and like jumping like that, like you're a freaking seal. Every footballer jumps with their arms to get that leap. You get what I mean? So if that's causing that confusion, clarified. And this is what I want to ask. You know how like they released the audio or something when that Liverpool Tottenham thing happened. I want them to actually release the conversation that happened between the referee and VAR when he went to see the screen because we looked at it for so long and he obviously was like continuously talking to the VAR. I just want to hear like what were they saying then? Like what was the discussion that made the referee decide after seeing it for like 10 to 15 seconds, say, you know what, I'm going to give that as a penalty. Was it
Mhm.
that, oh, you know what, his hand should not have been there regardless? If that's the case, I think that's stupid, but at least give us that clarity.
Mhm.
Or maybe he did not see the Mudrik header to Saliba's hand, which there's no way
Yeah,
he obviously missed that because it was super clear.
yeah. No, listen, I completely agree um on that, and just obviously moving because I think me and you could talk just on the referees' decisions
For
alone
so
this
long,
season
yeah.
for hours and hours and hours. So I obviously don't want to fill that up. I know we've gone an hour. Um, but I do just want to touch on the goals that was scored
Yeah.
because I think obviously we look at the goal that Mudrik scored. Another mistake from Raya. Why is he
Mm.
so far out of his goal? He's literally the goal's here, and then he's literally just ahead of the front post.
Yeah.
Why are you outside the goal and the goal is open behind you? Like
Mm.
even if he crosses that ball and it gets a deflection, you're not going to be able to weigh up where it's going to go. You're not going to be
Yeah.
able to work it out. So why is he so far outside of his goal? That really pissed me off when I'm watching it. Yeah,
Yeah.
really pissed me. Um,
Yeah. I
then the
think
yeah, yeah,
with
go.
that one, sorry to cut you off. Like I think with that
No, no,
one,
go.
the one thing I praise Dryer for over Ramsdale, I say he's really good at coming and collecting crosses. I think that could probably be part of it, where he's like, I always want to be a step ahead. So in case the cross comes, I'm always ready to receive. The problem is that while it's a risky kind of maneuver for me, but and while that helps a lot of times because he does come out and collect crosses, but it could also lead to this. Obviously, we all know Mudrik didn't mean it, right? He obviously was trying to cross the ball in. I think when Mudrik is coming from Chelsea's left wing, right, which is our right flank, and Ben White was like obviously like shadowing him. I think as a keeper he shouldn't have come out because the chances of him crossing the ball accurately with his left foot from there, while Ben White has that angle closed, I think the chances were very minimal for Mudrik to get a proper cross in. Because
Hmm,
technically that's a shit cross, right? It just happened to be that so shit that it actually went in. But if you look at
hmm,
it as a cross, because he tried to obviously cross it in, it was a horrible, horrible cross. So I
hmm,
think as a keeper, he probably didn't need to come out for that kind of cross over there. Maybe if Mudrik cut past Ben White and it looked like he's going to cross it in, then I would understand. But yeah, that
hmm.
that for me was a howler.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I think the next one we can go to is the Arsenal goals, because I really don't think we need to talk about the penalty. It was a
Yeah, yeah,
decent penalty. He
yeah.
scored it. The Rice goal.
Mm.
Now Hassam said something yesterday. Yeah, he said a lot of defenders, a lot of midfielders, sorry, will pussy out of that. They wouldn't take that shot on.
100%.
They wouldn't take that shot on.
100%.
The way that he hit that and was able to hit it so accurately to just hit the left corner. I'm sorry, but that is just amazing in itself. That he was able to get the accuracy on it, because even when they do hit it, it could have easily gone off. It could have gone off target and not gone into the goal. But we were able to take advantage of that. And there's even people now saying bend it like Rice or bend it like Declan, which
That
I've
was a
seen on
good
the
curve.
internet. It was really good, bro. It's really good. And to be honest, for me, I feel like the fact that he was able to hit that cleanly shows that he can still think, even when we're down in the dumps, he will never give up. That's what that showed me.
Mm,
That whole game there showed me that Declan Rice will never give up, no matter what's happening, no matter whether we're all playing shit, no matter what. He still kept his levels up there. Meanwhile, everybody around him was capitulating. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
So,
mm.
yeah, what were your thoughts on that goal, bro? Because I think it was spectacular, man.
Bro, when I saw it, I mean, honestly, you hit it on you hit the nail on the head. A lot of midfielders, and this is why I told you earlier, if Jorginho was in that exact same situation, he wouldn't shoot it first time, right? Odegaard probably also wouldn't shoot it first time. Everyone who's played football and even at the most amateur level, if you've tried taking these kind of shots first time, you know how difficult it is, right? He not only had to make sure that he gets the right dip. First of all, he had to take it first time to make sure that Sanchez is not back on time. He also had to make sure it has the right dip and going away, so that even if Sanchez is trying to run back, doesn't come close
You
to it.
can't touch it. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
It was so well taken, and he saw the opportunity. When he was behind the Chelsea player, and the moment he saw that the pass was misplaced, the the the, the intelligence levels, and you know how turned on you have to be as a footballer mentally, right? In that moment, to run past the Chelsea player, and ensure that you're pouncing on that and take it first time, bro, that shows levels, right? And that shows the level of confidence he has. That shows the level of quality he has to take such an amazing shot. Um, and yeah, man, if it wasn't for that shot, I don't think we would have come back 100%.
Yeah,
Like yes, we had like 10 minutes left, but there's no chance we would have come back in that last 10 minutes because there was no spark whatsoever, and we needed that window.
yeah. No, 100%, man. I completely agree. And listen, I think if we speak about the Trossard goal, I just want to say
Mm,
one thing, yeah, because I know. Listen, Shah was getting excited, bro. Yeah, let me just bring up the comment, bro. Because Shah, hey, listen, we know Shah, yeah, he's the biggest Trossard stan, bro. He loves Trossard, bro. Look at this. He called him. Look at this. Trossardinho provided proving why he's the better January signing.
one
Hey,
million
listen,
percent. One flew the
Trossardinho.
cross in, and one actually had a good finish
Trossardinho, man. Trossardinho. That reminded me of his first goal that he scored. His
against
first
Brentford.
goal. Yeah, where he
Yeah,
where he was at that back post and
yeah,
scored against Brentford.
yeah.
Bro, I was so gassed when he scored that, man. I was so gassed.
Mm.
So gassed. Obviously, I was behind at the time. But listen, when he scored that, bro, and I saw that goal, I was like, firstly, the cross from Saka.
Saka
The cross was perfect. You know when you see a cross and it's crossed in, yeah, but it lands right, like it lands as a dead ball right in front of the attacker.
was perfect, bro.
It was literally perfect. And when you want somebody to be able to put that in the back of the net, you want it to be Trossard, because
Yeah,
he is probably our most clinical player. I can say
yeah,
at the club.
yeah,
I can comfortably say he's probably one of the most clinical players we have at the club. Although
yeah.
he's had some dodgy performances this season, and of course the criticism comes with that. But that finish, and with him, you want him at the end of the finishes like that, because
Mm.
when when he is in front of goal, he is clinical, he's calm, he's collected, he's been there before. He looks like he's been there before. Even you look
Yeah.
back to the goal against PSV, which he scored. That's if you look at that goal, at the speed that the ball's coming towards him and
Mm.
how far he is away from the goal. I know it's just outside the box or just
Mm.
on the line of the box. That's still a very difficult shot to get into the back of the
Yeah.
net, and he
Yeah.
got it
100%.
into that right corner. So listen, hats off to the cross from Saka, and a big hats off to Trossard, man, because he actually done very well, man, very well in getting that cross put into the
Yeah.
back of the net.
I agree. Look, I agree with you. I think he's one of our best finishers, one of our most clinical finishers. I think I'd probably put Martinelli ahead of him because I've seen Martinelli do some mad finishes when he's one on one with
Yeah.
on the right side, on the left side with the headers, like with the coming at the back post and finishing these. So Martinelli does that as quite frequently too. Um, and look, I want to big up that cross as well because you see, this is how you know you've got such a top quality player, right? We criticized Saka a lot for that game, especially that first half when he didn't show up. Second half a lot better, but first half he was abysmal. But the fact that he can have some dodgy performances this season and still rack up goals and assists that win us games, or yesterday unfortunately didn't win us the game, but at least got us a point. That shows the quality of talent that's there, the quality of how much of a quality footballer he is, right? Because a lot of he's been getting a lot of criticism. I think he's on what, like 5 goals and 6 assists this season. I saw a stat as well today on Twitter that said he won the most duels yesterday. By the way, he won 10 duels. He had a 3 out of 4 dribbles completed, all in the second half. Obviously against Kukurea. Obviously he had like 3 key passes, one big chance created, which was the goal that Trossard scored.
Hmm.
And this is, despite all of this, we're still coming and saying he had a bad game overall, and rightly so, because he did. Because for the levels we know he can show, we know he can do a lot better, right? I think if Saka
Mhm.
was at Saka's form that we know from last season, he probably could have won us the game yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like it's such a good thing to have a player who's at that level right now, where a bad game from him or a bad performance still sees him coming out with a goal or assist. And a crucial assist. Like that cross was so good. He just
It was do or
cut on.
die.
Right, it was incredible. And you see the weight on that cross. He cut on his left. It was the right height. It was the right dip in the end to Trossard. He didn't have to like control it. He didn't have to like, he just had to finish it in. And obviously Trossard with an amazing finish because even though it was a good chance, it was a big chance, but we have seen players bottle it. Like I guarantee you, Nketiah in that same spot misses that chance. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, Havertz in that same spot misses that chance. So he still had to do the rest of the work, and that is put it behind the net, and thank God it fell to someone like Trossard. But yeah, man. And this is another game. I also read another stat today, by the way, which you didn't need to see that stat to know this because we've seen it in games. Our
Mm.
subs have been super impactful. Our subs this season have contributed to the third most, like they had the third most goal contributions this season
Mm.
after Newcastle, and I forgot which other team, right? We've had like I think what 7 or 8 goals or 6 goals coming from like substitutes.
Yeah.
So it shows our bench has been a lot better than what it was the last 2 3 seasons, which is obviously a big improvement.
Yeah. Listen, I know we're gonna wrap up in just a second, but I just want to close off just asking you one question, yes, regarding the game. Yeah.
Mm,
Instead of bringing on, instead of bringing on Emil Smith Rowe, which I'm completely with bringing on Smith Rowe. I want him to get more game time.
mm.
Would you have brought on would you have brought on Fabio Vieira instead? Given
Uh,
how he's a very because I'm just gonna say because for me, Fabio Vieira is an impact sub. He is that
mm,
guy that can come
mm.
off the bench and give you a better performance than he does when he starts.
Yeah.
Would you have thought it might have been better for us to bring him on possibly?
So the thing is, Fabio Ferreira was not even on the bench, right? Like because obviously, like one player had to get eliminated. If you look at the bench, he wasn't there. Like
Or was he not?
yeah, he wasn't on the bench yesterday. But if he was on the bench and it was an option between him and Emil Smith Rowe, I feel like I would still bring Smith Rowe because
Mm.
Vieira for me. I'm just confirming it here. Yeah, he wasn't on the bench. Um, if it was an option between, so for me personally, I would have first brought on Thomas Partey ahead of Jorginho. I think that would have been a better
That's it.
sub, and I would have done it a lot earlier on. But if it was an option between Vieira and Smith Rowe, assuming Vieira was on the bench, I probably still would bring in Smith Rowe because I think Smith Rowe. We have seen him perform away from home against Chelsea and against other teams as well. I've seen him a lot of times try to like ask for the ball. He tries to like build things up. Vieira's performances this season when he came off the bench, I think were really good at home, not away from home.
Yeah.
Against Fulham, he came off the bench, made a big, big impact. Against United, came off the bench, had an amazing game. Um, so I don't know if he would have had the same impact away from home in such an environment, especially when Chelsea's players were obviously pressing and they were physical, which they had to do to nullify our midfield. So if it's an option between these two in this kind of game, I think Smith Rowe would have been a better choice. And he was involved in that goal as well. Like he's the one who got the ball, gave it to
Yeah.
Havertz, and obviously Havertz then passed it to Saka. So I
Yeah.
think he did all right.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think Fabio Vieira this season could have a lot more that he could show us. A lot more that
Yeah,
he could show us. And
yeah.
even just quickly, just to end off on this topic as well, the injuries to Saka or to Saka especially, he looked very good on the ball. He didn't look like it was giving him much pain.
Mm,
His I believe it's the Achilles that
yeah,
he was fighting with. So it didn't look like he was giving him much problem. That's a big positive for me. Big positive
hundred
because that
percent,
means
100%.
that break that he had of 2 weeks, it
Yeah,
worked. It
yeah.
worked. He's back to his best, and hopefully, well, not back to his best, but hopefully he can get back to his best now and start putting out the performances that he needs with that break now.
And we
But
need that against Sevilla
yeah,
because I think that's a bigger game than Chelsea because we cannot afford to lose that game. So we need Saka to show up in that game for sure.
yeah, 100%. I'm gonna end it off there, but yeah, Sharaf, thank you very much for joining me, Khoya. And one sec, 1 second, mate.
Bro, I
Don't
read
bash
that. I did.
Jorginho before rewatching the game. You agenda driven. Go look at his stats versus Chelsea and rewatch the game back.
We did
Right.
watch the game. Who gives a shit about his stats? Your eyes should tell you all you need to know. We're comparing him to Thomas Partey. As a DM, right? He doesn't have the physicality to try and challenge these kind of midfielders. He's not someone who gets the ball and tries to actually carry it forward. He's not that good at progressing the ball forward, right? He's not able to beat the press. I remember there was an incident in the first half when he got the ball. Ben White was open with no one marking him, and he missed the ball. He missed past, and it went out because he had a little pressure on him. He is just not the guy. I'm telling you, he should be a third option, emergency only DM. If there's no Partey, if there's no Rice, we play Jorginho. Because the way we play relies a lot on our midfielders, especially Partey and Rice, in this case Partey, to get the ball from the centre backs and progress it forward to Odegaard in good places. Jorginho doesn't do that. If you press Jorginho really well, right, before he receives the ball, he'll either lose it or he'll pass it back, right? He's not going to be able to turn his guy like Partey does.
Right. Um, I think I just need to quickly explain to you, bro, because when it comes to Matthew, by the way, big up yourself. Thank you very much for tuning in to the video, to the stream. Big up to yourself. The reason why we're criticizing him is because he was passing back a lot yesterday, not progressing the ball fully the way we want him to. And obviously, yes, we say that, and you're right to come back with this. He made 15 passes into the final third, 6 ground duels out of 6, 5 out of 5 long passes completed. But that is the important one because a lot of his passes into the final third, a lot of his passes into the final third were him passing it to a player, and then the player has nowhere to go. If he passes it
Exactly.
to the player and the player has nowhere to go, what has he done? What
Yeah.
has he done? Thomas Partey will at least pass it to somebody where they can then go off, move into another position. They can go off, pass it to somebody else. They've always got an option. Jorginho was not doing that. He was not doing that. That's the reason why we're criticizing Jorginho for this specific game. When it came to playing against Manchester City, he did well. Had a brilliant game.
He had a good
But
game
when it
against
came
City. Yeah.
against Chelsea, yeah, when he came against Chelsea, he just wasn't that. He just wasn't that. And
Bro,
Odegaard was,
he's saying
yeah,
Odegaard lost the ball. We already criticized Odegaard. We said he should have taken the game by the scruff of the neck. He shouldn't be relying on Partey all the time. He should be dropping deep, getting the ball, and building up our attacks. We already said that. You probably missed it in the beginning, right? And with Jorginho, I said this about this is when I praised Thomas Partey earlier, and I said when he passes the ball to Odegaard or Saka or Martinelli, he passes the ball in good spaces where they receive it in a good spot and they're able to build an attack. Just because Jorginho gives a long ball to Martinelli or to Saka and they're stuck in a dead end, that doesn't mean progressive passes were good. That's why stats sometimes could be so damn
yeah,
misleading. I understand stats with like attackers because it doesn't matter how good you look on the eye. You need to have goals. You need to have assists. You need to have chances created. For a center mid or a defensive mid, stats do not tell you the picture. You need to watch the game and see how he plays and see what we are lacking and what we're losing when we're having Jorginho play with Thomas Partey. If Thomas Partey was injured and Declan Rice not available and we don't have any other option. If you have no option, we play Jorginho 100%. I'm not saying start El Neni ahead of Jorginho, am I? Right?
hmm,
But the downgrade from Partey to Jorginho is so damn tremendous that our whole style
so
of play gets
massive.
affected.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But anyway, listen, Matthew, me and Ashraf, both have to go. So I appreciate you tuning into the video. Maybe on the next one you can come in a bit earlier, and we can make sure to follow me on my social media right here, man. Right here, bro. Just follow me, and then when the tweet comes out, you can join in. You can argue with us. We'll argue with you for like an hour again. Don't worry, man. But yeah, Ashraf, thank you very much for tuning in with or joining me today. Sorry, to talk about the Arsenal game. Um, Obviously, guys, you can follow him. I'm going to leave his Twitter in the description as well, so you can actually follow him on Twitter. He's got some really good takes. Knows a lot about Arsenal and has some very good takes, man. You can also subscribe to the channel, like the video as well if you can, please, guys. Make sure you're smashing the like button. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button as well and pressing that bell notification so you're notified every time I make a video. Thank you very much for joining us. Big up to MTL. Big up to Shah. Big up to
Big up,
Alex
bro.
Ferguson as well, man. Alex Ferguson, he's been relentless, bro. This guy is just comment after comment, man. Listen, Alex Ferguson, big yourself up, bro, Roski.
Big up to Matthew too. Big up to Matthew as well.
Exactly. Big up to Matthew. Big up to Matthew as well, man. Big up to yourselves, man. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Laters.